It's that time again, ladies and gents. It's time for another ultimate edition of Setup Wars, the series where we show off some of the craziest, most expensive setups in the world. If you guys think you have an awesome setup that belongs on the ultimate edition of Setup Wars, then I dare you, that's right, I dare you to participate. Links below to learn how to enter. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, sit back and relax, because you know what time it is. As a reminder, you guys can always pick up a cheap Windows CD key for less than $15. Just click on my link below and use the code TS20 for an extra 20% off. Once you get your CD key, just visit the activation settings in Windows and change your product key. It's that simple. Kicking off the episode, we have a longtime subscriber and OG Setup Wars contestant. He was first featured in episode 86 over 4.5 years ago, which I think is the longest time anyone has waited to get back on the show. I guess he's been busy, because take a look at his new battle station. Wow. We got a very impressive quad display setup that he built for work, gaming, and the occasional streaming. We have dual 34-inch inverted 144Hz monitors stacked on top for multitasking, with the Odyssey G9 49-inch super ultra-wide as the main monitor below. And then we have a fourth one kind of hanging over from the side, which is only used for CCTV monitoring. Each display is individually mounted on separate mounts that's attached to his sit and stand desk. Pretty cool. For peripherals, he's rocking the Asus ROG Claymore keyboard and 3 sets of wireless mice, because why not? 2 Logitech Pros and 1 Model O wireless. I love how he added a Logitech PowerPlay mousepad underneath the larger one. My guess is to still get that charging feature for both of his Logitech mice. That's actually big brain. What isn't big brain is the location of the webcam though. Surely there has to be a better location than placing it on the desk like that. Everyone is gonna get a glimpse of your brain through both of your nose holes. I don't think it's a very attractive angle, to be honest, especially if you're streaming. Since he owns 3 gaming mice, why not have 3 headphones to go along with it? We got the MPOW H17 hanging underneath the desk, and an extra headphone hanger would be nice for the other 2 pairs on top. I can see the Sony WH-1000s laying next to the Audio-Technica M50Xs. Aside from the headphones, he does have a pair of Edifier speakers as well, which he skinned in carbon fiber, and a Blue Yeticaster Pro mic off to the side. Now, if you guys are at work or if your parents are watching with you and you're under the age of 18, I need you to skip over to the next section of the video. There's a timestamp link below, because this next part is not safe for work. I'll give you a second to skip. All right, for the rest of you still here, I hope you have the lube out with some tissues. Take a look at this cable porn. Honestly, if this doesn't get you moist, I don't know what will. Such precision and amazing attention to detail. Just look at the routing work with the cable clips. Honestly think we need to submit this to cablehub.com. My guy even mounted his Dell PC underneath here, which is used for a CCTV stream server. Incredible work. But not as incredible as the monolith of a gaming PC this guy has sitting on the edge of the desk without a side panel, because who the hell still uses side panels anymore? And trust me, the specs are as epic as the PC looks. We have the Ryzen 9 5950X 16-core 32-thread processor, 64 gigs of RAM, and not 1 but 2 graphics cards running independently. We got the Asus TUF RTX 3080 up top that's pushing the G9 ultra-wide, and the MSI GTX 1070 is pushing the other 2 monitors. On top of that, it's got its own distro plate and a 7-inch display modded on the PSU shroud that displays hardware info. Damn diggity damn, that is one hell of a PC. As amazing as the setup is, there were just a few things that didn't quite sit well with me. And one of them was the tiny hexagon panels above the setup. It just looks out of place. We have this amazing, huge battle station, and then when you look up, you see these tiny little panels. You need something a bit larger to complement the Goliath of a setup that you built. You know, you want something to make a statement, or at the very least, complement the size of the rest of the setup. The second thing isn't as important, but I feel like those acoustic panels on the side of the wall don't really do anything for the setup in terms of soundproofing or even aesthetics, if I'm being honest. The notion of, I gotta put something on the wall to cover up that empty space is widely misconstrued. It's all about complementing the setup. If you think adding stuff to the wall, whether it's posters or wall shelves holding up collectibles, is gonna contribute to the setup either aesthetically or personally, then by all means go for it. But you shouldn't feel pressured to mount stuff or put stuff on the wall just because you have the space for it. Take Andrew's setup for example. He has this really cool background wallpaper he added to the wall, which looks amazing by itself. So if you remove the hexagon panels, I honestly think the setup would look a lot better, but that's just me. In any case, it was awesome to see your new setup. Thank you, Andrew, for coming back on the show. It's been a while, my guy. Damn, what an intro that was. Adrian absolutely killed it again with that montage of his new gaming setup, just like last time. Coming in at number 2 is another previous contestant on Setup Wars. Adrian from episode 164 completely remodeled his basement studio to fit his new profession, which is making music, and of course he still streams games as well. So with that in mind, he had to design a room that would accommodate both activities. So he made these custom acoustic panels that wrap around the entire room. We have 2 separate setups built on IKEA backend desks, one for music production and the other for streaming. Now the music production setup is only for productivity, which makes sense why it only has a single 29-inch ultra-wide. He's also using an Apple Magic keyboard and a trackpad with the Razer Viper Ultimate mouse. The audio gear, on the other hand, is pretty sweet. We got 2 massive Yamaha HS8 speakers on floor stands and a nice selection of audio interfaces and DAC and amps. He also owns a pair of DT770 Pros and a separate mic setup in the corner. All the necessary gear to produce music professionally. I gotta admire his dedication. So the desk adjacent to the music production setup is the main gaming and streaming setup, rocking quad 24-inch monitors. I have seen this layout only one other time, and that was from another popular streamer, Montana Black, if you guys remember. He also had a butterfly quad monitor setup with the mic and camera in the center. Underneath that, we got an Elgato Stream Deck and the Razer Black Widow Chroma V2 keyboard paired with the Mamba Elite mouse. Just like Montana Black, Adrian also has 2 camera angles, one direct shot and one more from the side. It's nice to see that you also picked up a PS5. Welcome to the cool club, my guy. Since the monitors took up all the space from the desk, he was forced to keep the PC on the floor, but it looks like we have the same specs as before with the 8700K processor and a Zotac GTX 1070 graphics card. I'm sorry to be that guy, but I have to ask, is there a reason why the TV stand isn't centered directly underneath the TV? I gotta say, man, your last setup was really cool, but the fact that you somehow managed to improve it is even more impressive. And I gotta say, for someone your age, I'm really impressed with your dedication and passion. Don't lose sight of your goals and keep grinding, because one day you will make it big. Thank you for coming back on the show. Coming in at number 3 is Didi and his super unique setup that he built in his living room. This is the first time I've seen someone apply skins to the Alex drawers, and holy damn, do those look awesome. He designed the shapes using Photoshop and used 3 different shades of gray vinyl for the material. He then cut them out and placed them all over the Alex drawers, the speakers, and even other parts of the gear in the setup. The same shape and colors are consistent everywhere else in the setup, from the self-made wallpapers to the mouse pad and even those custom art panels on the wall. I mean, if you really want to take it a step further, he's even got the same design and colors everywhere else in the room, from the curtains to even the entertainment setup. Wow. Phenomenal job on the consistency and the attention to detail here. This, boys and girls, is how it's done. So it took Didi 2 months to complete the setup for the purpose of gaming, productivity, digital art, and audiophile music listening. He's rocking a stacked monitor setup with a 32-inch 4K monitor sitting on top of a 34-inch ultra-wide, both of which are mounted to a countertop he picked up from Home Depot. I gotta pause for a second and just appreciate the fact that Didi picked up those Muzara channels to diffuse the Govee RGB strips. I think they came out amazing. And now for peripherals, we got the Corsair K70 keyboard paired with the Rocat cone. I just love how everything on the desk blends in with the mouse pad. Nothing seems to stick out the most, which is how you know that someone put in a great deal of thought into a setup. Moving on to audio, the setup has a few sources. The main source are those massive JAMO speakers, but Didi also owns 5 pairs of headphones. That is actually ridiculous. We got the Philips Fidelios, V-Moda M100s, and the Audio-Technicas on one side, and the Fostex T60s and Anker Soundcores on the other. I don't think I've seen a more larger collection of headphones in any other setup on the show. As I mentioned before, Didi also uses the setup for digital art. In fact, he made his own wallpaper on the monitors that you see here. He does all his drawings on a 16-inch drawing tablet that he keeps in the corner of his desk. Cables are perfectly managed with no complaints, and the PC powering it all is a beautiful all-white custom build inside the Lean Lee Dynamic O11 case. We got the Ryzen 7 5800X and the Asus Strix 2080 Ti. But I gotta say, my favorite thing about the entire room is the collection of the figurines. I especially like the ones on the bottom left. Of course, the awesomeness doesn't end here. Since he built a setup in the living room, he decided to build an entertainment and couch gaming setup as well to complement the setup. Much of the same color and design as seen here as well, with the tricolor geometric shapes and the art panels on the wall. So this is where he basically kicks back and watches movies and games on all of his consoles. We got quite a selection here as well, from the Nintendo Switch in the center, sandwiched by a PS5 and an Xbox One X. This guy has the best of both, or I should say all 3 worlds. Now the entertainment setup is actually being powered by an HD PC, but don't let that fool you because it still packs enough juice to game on, with a 3700X and a GTX 1070 Ti. My only minor critique is that the custom wall art isn't exactly centered with the monitors, but other than that small thing, this was one hell of a unique setup that you got here. Thank you, Didi, for sharing this with us. Coming in at number 3 is Nabil from Malaysia and this pretty interesting gaming and video editing setup. This is the first time I have seen a triple monitor layout like this. The main 27-inch display sits on a monitor riser, while the other 22-inch monitors are stacked at an angle. I think the only reason a monitor should be up that close to you is if it's a touchscreen and you're drawing or sketching things on it, or if you're 3D modeling something. Unless you're playing Genshin Impact, which in that case you have to be really up close to enjoy the beautiful graphics. Add me by the way so we can play together. I'm currently AR30. For peripherals, he's using the Razer Tartarus keypad, Ornata Chroma keyboard, and the Mamba wireless mouse. I can't help but notice that long, thick, black cable sleeve that you have running across the desk. And then you have the mousepad cable going across on the other side. I feel like if you just kept the normal orientation, you can run the cable underneath the keyboard and through the sleeve as well. The mic placement is actually pretty good. I do like how you tucked it away in the corner. The cable management isn't the best I've seen, but there is definitely effort, and that's the most I can ask for. Now the PC powering it all is a pretty sweet custom build featuring the Ryzen 7 5800X, 64 gigs of RAM, which makes sense since he does a lot of editing, and the RTX 3060 Ti, because what is a sweet looking setup built for, if not for a little bit of gaming? The monitor layout is definitely interesting, but I feel like it works in certain situations and adds a bit of synergy depending on the type of work that you do. Nonetheless, it was a very refreshing setup indeed. Thank you, Nabil, for sharing this with us. Wrapping up the episode is Owen and his pretty mesmerizing gaming setup. I'm already in love with the colors. I actually remember seeing this setup so many times on Instagram, so it's awesome that I finally got a submission from the man himself. Welcome to the show, my guy. So Owen is a technician from Southwest England, and he built this setup for gaming and productivity. He started on it 2 years ago and made upgrades over time, and well, this is the current state of the setup. We have this beautiful corner desk layout with a PC gaming setup on one side and an entertainment area on the other. The desk itself was custom made from 2 MDF sheets, and it has this reflective glossy surface. And he even built shelves underneath to display his Funko Pop collection. That is pretty damn dope. I also love the wallpaper he added on only one of the walls. It adds this amazing level of contrast which just draws your attention to it. Speaking of things I also like where he mounted a LIFX beam. It really complements the 32-inch monitor nicely. Honestly, it's all about placement and lighting to get your setup looking this photogenic. For peripherals, he's rocking the Razer Basilisk gaming mouse and the GK61 keyboard with a sweet looking blue and white keycap set to match the colors of the setup. One of the things that Owen has done really great is sticking to the color scheme across the setup. You know, we have the white speakers, a white headset, hell, even the pots for the plants are in white. I love it. I don't think Owen can ever get bored with this setup. This man has it all. A dope-ass gaming PC with the Ryzen 9 3900X paired with a Gigabyte RTX 3070 and a nice collection of consoles all lined up beautifully. We got the Switch on top of the PC. He's also got a PS5 as well and a PS4 Pro with some cool little risers underneath. Such a stunning setup by Owen. It's a pleasure having you on the show. And that will do it for today's video. As always, make sure you guys comment below and let me know which of these setups was your absolute favorite and let me know why. It's going to be a tough pick because all these setups were jaw-dropping to say the least. If you guys are enjoying the new season of Setup Wars, as always, consider tossing a like before you head out as it does help out the channel a ton. And if you're new here, consider subscribing because I do host Setup Wars every single Monday. Sometimes Tuesday if I'm late. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, love you beautiful, beautiful lips and I'll see you very soon in the next one.